my father, when I graduated from high school, this is going back a bit, he goes, okay, so what are you going to do now? I said, well, I was thinking about art school. He goes, that's a hobby. That's what I do.
He said
He said that's a hobby, and that's what he did as a hobby.
Start everything.
I know, but that was always a hobby for him because he had the architectural firm and it was his. And then I realized too many rules and regulations, and I always wanted to do just art.
Right.
Welcome to the Artist Talk.
Yeah.
My name is Peter Kiss, and we're filming in my gallery here on Granville Island. And I guess I'm supposed to tell you about how I ended up here. It was a bit of a devious route to end up my own gallery. I never figured that would happen. That wasn't on the plan. But I'm blaming it all on my father, in a good way.
You believe? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take to the top. Let's go from the beginning.
Well, that's okay. The big.
So, growing up here, like
Growing up, yes.
Said
Here in Vancouver,
you
born
grew
and
up
raised here.
born and raised here in the West Coast, Vancouver.
Yeah.
Your father
As I
was an architect.
was an architect, but he also did ceramics, so that he had 3 kilns, different types of kilns. So whenever he had spare time, he was throwing pots and making sculptures. And then in his other spare time, he was drawing and painting. And as an architect, his perspective was perfect, and everything else. His paintings were amazing. And he would make films when he went on trips, Super 8 films, and he would create titles and soundscapes that went with the films when he was showing them.
So
And then
you'll edit the entire thing. So film, editing.
It was big, yeah, editing, yeah, putting it all together with the sound.
So we're talking film. We're not
No,
talking.
we're talking Super 8. This is a long time ago, where you had to then cut all the things
everything with the
and hang it on
hang it
lines, and then putting it all back together, splicing it together with the little film titles he put in between.
projected.
Oh yeah, we had a projector, we had a slide or a screen that would pull down,
Yeah.
so we could show these things, and you'd turn on the big reel tape that had the soundtrack that went with it,
Wow.
and yeah, so
And
it was,
then create a title of that as well, like
Oh, yeah.
cutting, drawing, and
Yep.
shooting everything back in.
exactly,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and that was in his spare time, and then he was also building furniture. So, and he had a classical education, so he knew Greek, Latin, German. He's Hungarian,
Right.
and so he was a Renaissance man in a sense. Still is. He's still with us at 98.
Wow.
They're living on their own, and he's still sketching. So that's fabulous.
He's still doing.
He does
playing with-
sketches.
Just sketch.
Yeah, and I will occasionally ask him skill testing questions, trivia questions. Like 2 weeks ago, I asked, "Hey, Dad, here's the question: what's the brightest star in the northern hemisphere?" And he goes, "It's Sirius, the dog star."
The dog stuff.
And I turn around and go, "Damn."
Which one? Series A or Series B?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like I didn't know it was serious to start with, and it was very serious.
It is
Yeah,
serious. Yes.
so it was very impressive. His long-term memory is amazing. So anyway, I had to find my own space because he could do everything.
Right.
So the only thing he didn't seem to know anything about was biology.
Biology.
Yeah,
Marine biology.
marine biology is where I ended up. Yeah.
So what draw you to it? I mean, you grew up in a house that is just.
Yeah, it was art school. Our house was art school because my
Right.
mom was also weaving, doing stained glass, enameling.
Mhm.
So I got a taste of all these things. So I made my own little film of plasticine,
Right.
thing. So I monopolized his camera for like 3 months. Pissed him off. It's just like, no, you can't move it, Dad. This is stop motion. So, and then I go down and make a mess in his ceramics area and make pots, and then I, go over to my mom's loom, and I would, I took a weaving course when I was 12, and you had to card your own wool and wash it and dye it. And there's all these other women in their 50s, and there was this 12-year-old kid in there spinning my wool, and I wove on the loom, I made a sweater. It kind of wore like a rug.
Right,
But
right.
I spun the wool, I dyed it, I put it on the loom, and I did enameling. So it was art school at home.
So your
Little
introduction
taste-
to art school was very early on, from the get-go, from
Yeah.
right
Well-
from birth.
Well, I was just there, and also it's just an appreciation. I mean, Dad would paint something, he'd put it up on the wall,
Right.
and subconsciously you kind of think, well, okay, why did he do that? And proud enough to put it up.
Right.
And the big thing is, why do I like it? You look at something, anything, and you go, oh, that really works. And you kind of go, okay, why does it work? Why does it work for me? And so that's whenever I decide, oh, I really like that. Okay, why is it that I like that? And then you incorporate that into your own designs. Like, what is it that works?
It's like
So-
emotion. Or
Yeah, it
what
was
is
just
what was
for,
it?
I don't know, yeah, it's emotion, but it's also the aesthetics, the balance of empty space to filled space. And anyway, so art school at home, never did art school later, and did the marine biology thing after graduating for 5 years. You end up way up north in a little river, you get dropped off by a helicopter or float plane, and you're out there for months. You have to build your own site, put up your tents.
Which wasn't hard for you because you're already on
Well-
building. You already had the building skills, right?
With the building skills, and we did so much camping, and I did a lot of kayak camping,
Wow.
and hiking and stuff. You go out for 10 days in the kayak on the west coast.
Right.
So, yeah, it was fine. I mean, there's grizzlies, there's animals, large weasels that run across your table out in the bush and take the meal you turned your back, and this weasel just ran off with the food you were about to eat. And then the rivers come up, and you have to abandon site because it's about to flood your entire, thing. And anyway, it was adventurous, but art was in my soul.
It was calling.
Yes. And so the marine biology wasn't fulfilling that. And I only had a Bachelor of Science degree, and you can only do so much with a Bachelor of Science degree. You don't move up the ladder. You have to go back and get your master's or
Right.
your PhD. And I decided, no, I want to do something a bit more artistic. And there was pressure from my dad to do the architecture thing because he had the architectural firm.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I'll try architecture. And that was only another 3 years on top of if you've had a degree before. So graduated from there and did architecture afterwards for 5 years. And
You went work for your dad or for?
no,
for-
first I just was designing houses on my own and stuff, and then finally, okay, he retired from the firm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was his firm, but he brought in partners who've been working in it for a long time, so they'd take over. So I worked with the partners for a year and a half. And then I realized too many rules and regulations, and I always wanted to do just art.
Right.
But my father, when I graduated from high school, this is going back a bit, and he goes, okay, so what are you going to do now? I said, well, I was thinking about art school. And he goes, that's a hobby. That's what I do.
He said he's a
He
hobby.
said that's a hobby, and that's what he did
The
as a
guy would
hobby.
start everything.
I know, but that was always a hobby for him because he had the architectural firm and it was his.
Right.
So he said, no, you can do that stuff, on the side. And so anyway, after architecture school, and being an architect, I said, okay, this isn't working for me, so I'm going to take a break. And I bought a ticket, a 1-year open ticket. It was called the South Pacific Circle thing. You could go one direction, and you had like 11 stops.
Right.
You were allowed, and it was open for a year.
South Pacific. So it's
Yeah, I flew down first to LA. First stop was Hawaii.
Right.
It's like, well, that's just the United States. It's not
Right.
different. Second stop was a country called Irian Jaya, which was the other half of Papua New Guinea.
Oh,
There
wow.
was
Okay.
Papua New Guinea part and the Indonesian half. So okay, I'm on the plane. Okay, I got my Lonely Planet book. Irian Jaya. Holy shit! This sounds this sounds really exotic. This is the
Right,
deep
right.
end. So I got off, and so did 2 missionaries. That was it.
Oh wow.
And,
okay.
and I was sort of, in the book it said you should go to the interior, it's really interesting. But the next flight was 6 hours away. Anyway, so the missionaries leave, and they come back an hour later, and they said, what are you doing here? And it's like, and I said, well, I'm waiting for the next flight. You know, and they said, what's in 5 hours? Come back to the mission. Anyway, we were catching the next flight too. I ended up in the middle of Irian Jaya, which was amazing.
Wow.
Super exotic. I
So
mean,
it was the first time you actually left Canada to a place
no,
like
no.
that?
I as a kid,
You
been to
traveled.
Mexico and
Oh, okay.
Hawaii
So
before.
you've been.
Yeah, but
in places
not
like that.
not this.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to do something. I couldn't just.
Right.
My brother had done this trip, similar one, and he'd come back one day before the year was up. You know, I lasted 3 months because I couldn't just travel. I needed to make things.
Right.
I needed my hands to work, my brains to work. It wasn't. So after 3 months, I got to get back. So I came back, and in my mind, I was going to take a year off. So now I had 9 months of free time. And I started, what am I going to do? And I used to paint sweatshirts, like one-off